Do you know that only 53 Komatsu D575A Super Dozers were ever built in the world, while Caterpillar has produced more than 6,000 D11s since 1986? The Komatsu D575A, once the largest production bulldozer ever made with a massive 1,150 horsepower engine and the ability to push up to 125 cubic yards in a single pass, was a rare engineering marvel, but eventually discontinued in 2012 due to high costs and limited demand. In contrast, Caterpillar's D11 became the true global workhorse, with thousands still operating in mines across the world today, from coal pits in Australia to iron ore fields in the US. The D11 continues to evolve, with the latest models offering about 6% lower cost per bank cubic meter compared to earlier versions, a huge financial edge in large-scale mining operations. While a brand new D11 can cost between $2 to $3 million and used models can range from $400,000 to $3 million, companies still invest heavily because the machine can run for decades, with some dozers logging more than 100,000 hours in service. Operating costs typically hover around $500 to $1,000 per hour, but the productivity offsets make it worth every cent. The Komatsu D575A may remain a legendary giant with a few preserved in museums and yards, but in terms of profit, reliability and sheer numbers, Caterpillar's D11 clearly dominates the bulldozer world. That's the story we're about to uncover. Today, we're staging one of the most requested and hotly debated heavyweight fights in the world of heavy machinery. The Komatsu D575, the largest production bulldozer ever built, versus the Caterpillar D11, the dozer that many operators, mechanics and mine managers alike call the best in the world. This isn't just about who's bigger, it's about who works better in the real world, who keeps moving earth shift after shift, who companies continue to buy and rebuild, and which machine has truly earned the trust of the toughest industries on Earth. The Komatsu D575A-3 Super Dozer is, without exaggeration, a mountain on tracks. In its largest configuration, this behemoth stretches nearly 39 feet long. Across its Super Dozer blade, it spans almost 24 feet wide. And when you stand next to it, you're staring up nearly 16 feet to the top of the cab. Fully outfitted, the D575 tips the scales at a staggering 336,000 pounds. That's more than 150 metric tons of machine, dwarfing the weight of two Boeing 737 passenger jets. And then, there's the blade. The blade is the defining feature of any dozer, and Komatsu built the biggest one ever. The D575's blade can push a jaw-dropping 125 cubic yards of earth in a single pass. That's about the same volume as 150 pickup trucks worth of material being shoved forward in one single motion. Watching the Super Dozer at work, you don't get the impression of a machine cutting ground. It looks like a steel cliff face advancing, shoving aside hillsides as if they were piles of sand. By comparison, the Caterpillar D11 is smaller. Its operating weight sits in the range of 105 to 115 metric tons, depending on the configuration. Its blade capacities range from 35 cubic yards with a semi-universal blade up to 57 cubic yards with a carry dozer blade. When you build machines at this scale, size alone isn't enough. The way a dozer puts its weight to the ground, the way it grips, climbs, and powers through terrain can make the difference between a machine that works and a machine that spends more time in the repair bay. The Komatsu D575 relies on a conventional low-sprocket undercarriage. It's a tried-and-true design, robust and simple, and on most bulldozers, it gets the job done without complaint. But when you take a design meant for 60 or 70 tons and scale it up past 150, the stress becomes punishing. Every pin, every roller, every shoe takes the full brunt of the D575's enormous weight. In abrasive rock or compacted soil, these forces chew through undercarriage components at a brutal pace. Keeping a D575 running smoothly requires meticulous maintenance schedules and parts that aren't exactly easy to source today. Caterpillar approached the problem differently. Back in the 1970s, when they were developing what would eventually become the D10 and then the D11, their engineers introduced the elevated sprocket high drive system. It was a radical idea. Lift the drive sprocket up above the track frame, keep it away from ground shock, and allow the track to float with a suspended undercarriage. On paper, it seemed like a bold gamble. In practice, it changed everything. The high drive isolates shock loads before they reach the final drives, reduces scalloping, the uneven wear tracks get from pounding into the same hard surfaces again and again, and spreads more track on the ground at once. The result? Better grip, smoother ride, and significantly longer component life. Then there's the blade, the heart of any dozer. The Komatsu D575 still wears the crown for biggest blade ever fitted to a production bulldozer. Its 125 cubic yards Super Dozer blade is a staggering sight. Standing in front of it, the steel wall looms higher than a two-story house. Watching it cut into a bank is like seeing a glacier shove through a valley. It's not just a blade, it's a moving horizon line. The Caterpillar D11, by comparison, looks more modest. Its blades range from 35 cubic yards on the semi-universal to 57 cubic yards on the carry dozer version. At first glance, that's barely half the size of the Komatsu, but blade size alone doesn't decide who moves more dirt. Caterpillar's blades are engineered for efficiency. The semi-universal blade digs deep and penetrates tough soils. The carry dozer blade scoops material, holds it, and carries it further without spilling. The geometry of these blades isn't just about capacity. It's about balance, traction, and consistency. And then there's technology. The D11 integrates automated blade assist, letting operators preset blade angles for cutting, carrying, or dumping. With the push of a button, the blade adjusts itself. Auto Carry automatically keeps blade loads consistent through the push, reducing track slip and maximizing efficiency. And with CAT grade with 3D, the dozer ties into satellites and sensors, guiding every pass with near-survey precision. The results are not just theoretical. In a Nevada gold mine, operators reported a dramatic boost in shift-wide productivity after adding Auto Carry. Even though the D11's blade was smaller, the system kept each pass consistent, which meant more total tons moved by the end of the shift. The lesson was simple but powerful. A blade that's smart can outwork a blade that's just big. For operators, this translates into less fatigue, more predictable cycles, and higher production numbers. Instead of constantly fighting to find the perfect angle or second-guessing load balance, the machine assists them. That difference is one of the reasons why so many mines worldwide keep choosing the D11. Of course, no showdown between giants would be complete without talking about what's under the hood. Power is the headline spec that grabs attention, the number that fans debate and mining companies analyze before signing a contract. The Komatsu D575 carries one of the most powerful engines ever dropped into a bulldozer. A mammoth 12-cylinder, 1,150 horsepower diesel engine drives this machine. When the Super Dozer was first introduced, those numbers were staggering. This wasn't just a dozer. It was a groundbreaking experiment in how far brute strength could be pushed. For decades, Komatsu's V12 allowed the D575 to slice through Japan's massive open-pit coal mines, benching entire walls of earth and rock with brute force. Standing next to a running D575, you feel the ground vibrate. The sound is a guttural roar. A reminder that this was a dozer built to dominate through sheer horsepower. It was and remains a legend of mechanical muscle. But raw horsepower has limits. The Caterpillar D11 doesn't match the D575's peak numbers on paper. Its CAT C32 engine produces between 850 and 950 horsepower, depending on the model. To the untrained eye, that looks like a loss, a smaller number in a contest where bigger seems better. Yet, Caterpillar added something Komatsu never did: a new way of delivering power. Enter the D11XE, Caterpillar's diesel-electric dozer. Instead of relying solely on mechanical transmissions, the D11XE uses the C32 engine to drive a generator. That generator powers electric drive motors, which then deliver torque directly to the tracks. The advantages are massive. Electric motors deliver instant torque. They don't need gear shifting. They respond instantly to operator input, and they're far more efficient at converting fuel into usable work. Field tests and customer reports show that the D11XE uses up to 25% less fuel per unit of material moved compared to traditional mechanical drive versions. For mines in Western Australia or the Powder River Basin, operations that burn tens of thousands of gallons of diesel every single day, that efficiency translates to millions of dollars saved annually. Less fuel burned also means fewer emissions, something more and more companies are being asked to address. So while the D575 wins the horsepower battle on paper, the D11 wins the war of economics. Because in mining, where margins are thin and downtime is expensive, saving millions in fuel while maintaining consistent torque delivery isn't just impressive, it's decisive. But power is only part of the story. Safety is where the biggest changes in dozer design have happened since the D575's heyday. When the Komatsu D575 was built, safety features were limited. Machines were designed to be strong, and operator safety often meant little more than heavy steel around the cab. Remote control use was experimented with in special conditions, but it never became widespread. The D575 was built in an era when autonomy was still a dream, and the priority was brute capacity. The Caterpillar D11, especially in its modern variants, reflects a very different era. From the factory, it comes equipped with automatic fire suppression systems, guardrails, powered access ladders, and reinforced rollover protection structures. The cabs are designed not only for strength but for visibility, with wide windows, extended mirrors, and high-definition display screens feeding 360-degree camera systems. Operators are kept safer and more aware of their surroundings. But the real revolution is autonomy. With CAT command for dozing, the D11 can be run remotely from a safe control station, or even semi-autonomously. In repetitive push-to-edge tasks, one operator can supervise multiple machines, sending commands to several D11s working simultaneously. And this isn't theoretical, it's happening right now. In Western Australia, some of the world's largest iron ore mines run fleets of semi-autonomous D11s supervised from control centers miles away. Operators sit in air-conditioned rooms monitoring multiple screens while their dozers work in the dust and heat without a human in the cab. The benefits are massive: reduced operator fatigue, fewer accidents, and higher consistency shift after shift. For mining companies, autonomy doesn't just protect people, it boosts productivity. A machine that never gets tired, never loses focus, and always follows its programmed path, delivers predictable, repeatable results. In the long run, that consistency is worth as much as raw horsepower. The Komatsu D575, for all its legend, never made that leap. Its era passed before remote control and autonomy became the new benchmark. The Caterpillar D11, still in production and constantly updated, embraced it. And that decision changed the game. When you put power and safety together, the contrast becomes clear. The Komatsu D575 will always be remembered as a monster of mechanical strength, a dozer that pushed the limits of what was possible with sheer size and horsepower. But the D11 has evolved into a machine that combines strength with intelligence, protection, and adaptability. There's one more reality we need to face: getting these giants to the job site. The Komatsu D575's enormous size makes it a nightmare to move. To redeploy, it has to be disassembled into multiple truckloads, each hauled separately, then reassembled with cranes and a team of specialists. The process takes weeks and costs a fortune. In practice, this means the D575 is a stay-at-home champion, a dozer meant to live and die in one mine without ever leaving. The Caterpillar D11 was designed with flexibility in mind. Remove the blade and ripper, and the main body can be hauled on a low loader or even by rail. In regions like Australia's Pilbara, operators move D11s partially intact under oversized permits, saving both time and money. For mining companies that shift fleets between sites, that's a massive advantage. Then comes the final piece of the puzzle: support. Komatsu only built around 53 D575s. That means parts are rare, and technicians trained to service them are even rarer. When a component fails, downtime stretches, not because the machine isn't powerful, but because the network to sustain it simply doesn't exist. The Caterpillar D11, with over 6,000 units in service worldwide, is the opposite. Caterpillar's dealer network is unmatched. Parts are stocked, rebuilds are routine, and upgrades, from basic kits to full autonomy, are readily available. Mines know they're not just buying a bulldozer, they're buying into a platform that will be supported for decades. That reliability, more than anything else, is why the D11 dominates fleets in Canada's oil sands, South Africa's diamond pits, Brazil's iron ore mines, and America's coal basins. So, who really wins this showdown? The D575 will always be remembered as the largest. The D11, for the world that actually moves mountains, will always be the best. So what do you think? Would you put the Komatsu D575, the mountain-sized legend, to work in your pit, or would you trust the Caterpillar D11, the proven king of bulldozers? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this battle of giants, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Lord Gizmo for more incredible machines and the stories behind them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.